Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here tonight.
So Kelly and I will be working together, and this evening Kelly will be presenting, as she did in the first ABLE account presentation. Welcome, Heidi. Thank you for joining us this evening. And Vicki, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everybody. So tonight we are going to be talking about the ABLE account. This is part of our ABLE account workshop or presentation series. What's different a little bit this evening is we're going to walk through the actual enrollment process. And Kelly and I had a little bit of time just before this presentation began, and she actually started helping me walk through it. And so I know a lot of us are embarrassed to say that we don't have our ABLE accounts set up because so many people do. Well, I'm one of those people, and I'll admit it. So tonight, Kelly is here to help us. And I'm really excited to have her here to help us do this. And I don't know if everyone here was at the first presentation, but we do have it on our website if you want to view it. I'm just trying to get to the next slide here. Here we go. So if you're not familiar, and I know that I see a lot of familiar names here, but if you're not familiar with the Down Syndrome Network of Montgomery County, we are located here in Montgomery County, and we also serve families in Washington, D.C. and the surrounding region. We are here and empower and support individuals with Down syndrome, their families, and the community through education, information, public awareness, and advocacy. And we do what we do like this. We help families support their loved ones with Down syndrome and other disabilities as well. So just a few housekeeping pieces here to remember. Please stay on mute during the presentation. We will certainly have time for questions. Kelly is very friendly and wants to answer your questions. We welcome cameras on so we can see you. If that's possible, please use the chat feature or raise your hand. And when use the reaction tab to ask questions. And I will be fielding those questions for Kelly. And she'll stop as needed throughout the presentation, and then also at the end of the presentation there will be time for questions as well. For closed captions, click on live transcript and then show subtitles. Please keep your questions general. We don't want to be giving away all of our social security numbers and important private information that would go on this form that we're going to be discussing this evening. And then here at the end, we do have an evaluation form that we'd like you to fill out, and I will put this link into the chat. So with that, I would like to introduce Kelly. And so Kelly works, she's worked in the field of disabilities for more than 30 years. She has served in many roles supporting people with disabilities and their families through advocacy, education, and connecting them to vital resources within their community. As a part of as a parent of a child with disabilities, Kelly is passionate about helping her daughter to become confident and self-advocate as she pursues her goals of working and living independently in the community. As the outreach and communications manager for Maryland ABLE, Kelly is delighted to have the opportunity to connect with many people with disabilities, their families, and the staff that support them as she travels throughout Maryland, educating people about the benefits of having an ABLE account. Through her outreach endeavors, Kelly is excited to see how her work with Maryland ABLE is helping to promote personal choice, independence, and economic stability for people with disabilities. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and Kelly is going to share her screen, and I'll let you take it from here, Kelly, because I know that there were some other things that you wanted to discuss this evening as well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Brooke. I really do appreciate you guys having me back for this. We're doing a practical, hands-on approach to this enrollment process, and hopefully, the folks that are attending tonight have already been to either the previous ABLE presentation we did with you guys last month, or you've been to another presentation somewhere else about Maryland ABLE, because there's going to be an assumption that you guys have some basic understanding about ABLE. But one of the things I do want to do before we jump into the enrollment process is I'm going to share my screen, my actual slide deck. Let me get it set up here, because we have had some updates to the program since I presented last month. So let's just take a real quick look at some of those things. So basically, ABLE accounts are special tax advantage savings accounts for people with disabilities and their families. That's going to make it possible for them to be able to save beyond that $2,000 asset limit that is imposed by SSI. And they, with an ABLE account, you can actually have up to $100,000 in an ABLE account before it would impact those SSI cash benefits. But no matter what, even if for some reason those SSI cash benefits were suspended for a period of time, the Medicaid and all those waivers would remain in place. So the eligibility is one of the areas that we've had an update for many years. ABLE programs nationwide have been advocating for the ABLE Age Adjustment Act to pass, which would increase the eligibility for over 6 million Americans that have disabilities. Prior to ABLE Age Adjustment Act, you had to have the onset of a disability prior to the age of 26. So I know with lots of families here tonight that have a loved one with Down syndrome, we know that wasn't an issue for them because that was evident when they were born. So for a lot of families out there, someone whose child experiences a traumatic brain injury or some other type of accident or things like that, or a mental health diagnosis later in life after age 26, there was nothing that they could do about it because they couldn't have the ABLE account. Lots of veterans as well have sustained, a disability through their service in the military and had not been able to access it. So that's one of the important things. I know it doesn't really impact you guys so much, but want you guys to know that information as you're connecting with other families throughout Maryland, letting them know. The one little downside is we have to wait until 2026 in order to have this implemented. That was part of their agreement to pass that law. So, all right. So the second eligibility requirement is that somebody is either receiving SSI or SSDI. And for many families who have a child under the age of 18, they're usually not. But I don't want you to worry about that, because all you have to do is fill out a disability certification form and have your physician sign it and maintain it for your record. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we move through the enrollment process. Let's see. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is when I was with you guys last time, I said that the annual contribution limit was set $16,000. Well, effective January the 1st, that increased to $17,000. And this does happen from time to time, as that contribution for ABLE accounts nationwide is tied to the federal gift tax exclusion set by the IRS. So every time the IRS increases that amount, it's automatically going to impact the ABLE contribution limit. And so that annual contribution limit is the maximum amount of money that you can contribute to your family member's ABLE account in 1 year. Okay. Let me just in case you are not super familiar with ABLE accounts, or you might have maybe forgotten this, the one thing that you want to keep in mind is that $100,000 account balance. After your ABLE accounts go beyond $100,000, the beneficiary would have their monthly SSI cash benefit put into a state of suspension, but your Medicaid, that's your insurance, and any waivers that they're receiving, like food, energy, or housing assistance, would remain indefinitely. Okay, so anytime that account balance any money in the account should be spent, and it would fall below the $100,000 limit, Social Security would be able to automatically reactivate that cash benefit because your family member was never disenrolled, which is what can happen if you have $2,000 outside of an ABLE account or a special needs trust. So that's the big difference there. So other than that, that's all the things that I want to say before we jump into the enrollment process. Maybe just another quick review here about qualified disability expenses. Whoever is managing the account, if it's the account holder, him or herself, or if there's an authorized legal representative in place, you want to know that you can spend the money in the ABLE account on anything at all, anything, any service, any item that is going to support your family member in his or her health, independence, or quality of life. And these are just some topics or categories that we have here just to give you guys some ideas, but basically anything that's going to support in health, independence, or quality of life. There's two things that I have heard the IRS comment that would not be acceptable. The first is purchasing gifts for other people, because again, this is a tax advantage savings account intended only for the person with the disability, and they want to make sure that this money is being used for that person's benefit. And the second was gambling. So there we go. All right, let's see, just real quick here. Oh, one other thing I want to mention is, and we're going to see this as we go through the enrollment process. Many of our 5,000, a little over 5,000 Maryland ABLE account holders are managing their own account, but there is also many of these account holders that need help managing their account. So an authorized legal representative can be appointed. That's somebody that is going to be helping to manage the account, making the deposits, the contributions, taking withdrawals, keeping track of the purchases in case, maintaining documentation, things like that. So the way it is right now in our regulations, or the initial regulations when ABLE was passed, they said anyone that is under the age of 18, and I did see several folks here tonight who do have a family member that's under the age of 18, you're able to open that ABLE account for your family member without providing any additional consent. Now, once somebody turns 18 years of age, they reach the age of majority. And we have a statutory law here in Maryland that says you have to have permission or consent to manage someone's financial accounts after the age of 18, unless they are deemed that they're not competent to do that. And usually that's when a guardianship type of situation is involved. So anyone that's on the call tonight that has a family member that's over the age of 18, you're going to notice that you're going to have one extra step, and that is providing consent to manage this ABLE account. And consent can be one of three things. If you have guardianship over property for your family member, you can upload a copy of your guardianship paper. If you have power of attorney over property, you could upload that. So some people are saying, we really haven't gotten that far in the process. I don't know what we're going to do about that yet. We could go to the Maryland ABLE website and click on the forms section, where we would find a form that says limited power of attorney over the ABLE account only. And you would print that off, and you would take it to the bank and have it signed by yourself and your family member in the presence of a notary and two witnesses. And this would give you consent from your family member to help manage the ABLE account, and you would upload that. So that would be the extra step that's involved. So that the one thing I want to let you know about that is that will be changing as well. We actually have final regulations from the IRS that has expanded that hierarchy to include family, family members, whether it be spouse, parents, siblings, grandparents, can open an ABLE account without having to provide consent. However, here in Maryland, we have to petition or submit a request to our legislators to pass a change in the Maryland ABLE Act or the Maryland ABLE legislation that would allow that to happen, because we do have that law here in Maryland saying anyone over the age of 18, unless deemed incompetent, must provide consent to someone managing a financial account. So it will be coming. I just can't tell you when. We have it proposed legislation being prepared to go before the General Assembly. So hopefully it'll get passed and processed quickly, but I don't know how long that takes. So that's my little update for ABLE right now. And now I'm going to go ahead and while I'm doing this, Brooke, is there any questions about anything that I said? Are those updates in there that we would want to just answer before we move on?
I don't see any questions in the chat.
All right, that's good. Good, we're doing good then. All right, let's see. Now, why doesn't this not want to? I want to expand this so that it's the full screen. Well, that's not making me happy. Okay, here we go. All right. So what we have here are screenshots from the Maryland ABLE website. Now, Maryland ABLE is facilitated by the state of Maryland. I work for the great state of Maryland as their outreach and communications manager for Maryland ABLE program, but the state of Maryland is not a financial institution. We had to partner with a financial institution for them to be able to hold the funds in an account, process contributions, take withdrawals, process investment purchases, and things like that. Our program manager is Vestwell, which is a subsidiary of the Bank of New York Mellon, or BNY. Okay, so Vestwell is the banking institution that runs our website, that operates a customer support team. So they printed off screenshots from an enrollment process. And there's two different versions of the enrollment process. The first is if you're opening the ABLE account for yourself, or if you're opening it on behalf of another person. So, Brooke, if I could ask if there's anybody on the meeting tonight that is a person who qualifies for an ABLE account, has a disability, and is going to be opening an account for themselves. Because if there's not someone here that's opening it for themselves, I'm just going to stick to the one option, which is where someone else opens it for a family member.
So from everyone that I know on this account, this call tonight, and from what everybody has said in the chat, it seems like everybody so far, from what I can tell, that everyone is a parent.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So if that's different, you should let us know.
Okay, yes. Yeah. And I'd be happy to go through that if you think you're going to have a family member that's not here tonight that wants to open it on their own. Okay. But if not, we're just going to go ahead and stick to the one. Okay. So here we go. So anyone interested in opening an ABLE account would go to the Maryland ABLE website, which is www.marylandable.org. And the reason I say that is because if you were to type in Maryland ABLE on Google, what might pop up is something that says ABLE now available in Maryland. And you could open an ABLE account, and you may be surprised to learn in the future that you don't have a Maryland ABLE account, but you have an ABLE Now ABLE account that's located in Virginia. And we want you to have whatever ABLE program you want to go with is great. We just want you to know which one you're going with. So if you're interested in the Maryland ABLE accounts because you want to take advantage of the income deduction on your Maryland state taxes for one reason, might be a reason that you want to be with Maryland, you do want to type in our URL. And you're going to see what you see on the left-hand side of the screen right here, which says Maryland ABLE. Okay. So, oops, let me see if I can. I don't, you know what? I think for some reason it's showing two slides. Oh my golly, on one screen. Okay, here we go. That's better. So when you get to the website, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a button, a little red maroon color button that says open an ABLE account now, or open an account now. And if you click on it, this is what you're going to see. And the first thing you're going to come to is some little notes about things you're going to need when you go through this process, which is basically going to be the social security number for the account holder and the person serving as ALR, or authorized legal representative. Also, if you are a person that is going to be an ALR for an adult, you would want to have a copy of those consent papers, and that could be guardianship, conservatorship, a power of attorney, a limited power of attorney over able account. Just kind of have all that ready when you do that. So it looks like they have used a made-up person named Dariza Garcia as a person who is enrolling for this ABLE account, and it'll prompt you to enter your email. And then it's going to ask you if you've read the program disclosure book and if you agreed to the use of the site. This is very similar to when you sign up for a credit card and they have, they want you to read all the fine print before you enroll or request for a credit card, except what we have is called our program disclosure book, which provides all the details about the Maryland ABLE program. So if that's something that you haven't done yet, if you want to go visit the website and read that program disclosure book, you can do that and then come back and open an ABLE account at another time. But once you've read it or once you consent, you're going to click those two little boxes there and click Get Started. And then the next thing that we're going to see is a screen that says, tell us about the beneficiary. And it's going to ask you a very important question from the beginning. Oh, yes, Sam, you have a question?
I do.
Oh, you're not Sam?
I know, he's my older son. The younger one is the one with Down syndrome.
Okay.
But I'm on the website and that's not what I'm seeing right now. And I didn't know if you wanted, since you're going step by step, if you wanted to help folks through step by step or no. It keeps coming up to something that says someday open it, meet my plan manager.
Okay.
I can't seem to get around that.
Someday is the name. Someday, let me see. Vestwell was consolidated with Someday. So Someday is going to be the name that you're going to see still on the website, because they're in the process of transitioning that. They didn't want people freaking out that were going into their ABLE account and seeing Vestwell all of a sudden. So they're going to start co-branding. So I don't know if I can't, the problem is I can't actually get into an enrollment screen, or I'd have to open an ABLE account, and I can't open an ABLE account because I already did. So if you wanted to, I don't know, Brooke, if she can screen share that first page before she gets to confidential information. But so
I am happy to screen share.
Hold on, Laura, let me make it possible for you.
okay.
And
then at some point we're going to have to unscreen share, because if
Yes.
you were doing it, Laura would be having to enter confidential information like social security and things like that. But we can take you from the beginning, right? And at least we'll see what it looks like, because these are unfortunately they don't have like mock accounts for me to be able to go through the enrollment process. The best they could do was get me these screenshots.
Okay. So
Okay.
are you able to see
Yes.
a bluish screen that says Maryland ABLE?
Yes.
And at the website does in fact say
Yep, that's
marylandable.org.
the one. Yep.
I scroll down past, see how it works.
Okay. So did you, at the very top of the when you first went into the website, on the far hand right corner, did you want to click on open an account? Let's go to the home menu. Oh, there it is. If it looks like on this version here, it says open an account. So that's the one you're going to click on.
All right.
Okay.
So no matter how I get there, there's a couple of different ways that say open or create an account.
Okay.
This is
Okay,
what
it looks
comes
like-
up. And I don't know
Oh,
how to get past this because
Okay.
if
Create an account.
I come back to this.
Let's
click let's go,
let's
I
go.
think.
It
Let's try
says by clicking below, you'll leave this
Oh,
link to
Yeah, so
someday.
someday is our program manager, and that's like I said, Maryland ABLE, we facilitate the program, but we're not a bank, so we had to partner with a financial institution, which is Someday Vestwell, which is a subsidiary of the Bank of New York Mellon. So basically they're saying, when you click on this, this is going to be the Bank of New York Mellon Someday Vestwell that is setting up this account.
Okay, so
their
you
computer system.
actually are recommending that we click on this and go through that process.
Yes, that's the only way to enroll, because it's just letting you know that you're leaving the Maryland Able website, but the program manager, the Bank of New York Mellon subsidiary Someday, which is changing its name to Vestwell at this time, is the person that is holding all the funds. So here we go. This is going to be your very first page.
All
Open an Able account.
All right,
And,
so just to let everybody know, you don't let it fool you. Go ahead and switch pages and click on that to go to the Someday screen.
right,
All
because
So I'll stop sharing because now I'll
okay,
catch up
no,
to where
okay,
you
you can still share for a little bit longer if you want
Okay.
to. Okay, so this is the first enrollment screen here. It's saying, hey, Laura, you're about to set up an account. You might want to have some things ready for you. So it's going to ask you first to enter the email that you want to have correspondence sent to. So whatever that would be, you could go ahead and enter that now. And then it's going to ask you two things. Have you read the program disclosure book? Do you agree to using the Someday site terms? In other words, we're going to be the person that's processing your deposits, processing your withdrawals. So, if you're prepared to do that, you want to click on that. And then you'll go through with the enrollment.
Okay, here it asks me for the ITNI for the people on the account. Is that
So you don't need that right now.
okay?
I don't know that. Yeah. So now
Okay.
it's going to say, tell us about the beneficiary, and the beneficiary is going to be your family member. So this is a really important question. And sometimes people, they just jump ahead and they're not thinking, but see that, are you the beneficiary? You're not the beneficiary. So you're going to click no. And then it's going to ask you to list your son's name. And this is where we'll have to unscreen share, because from this point on, it's going to have opportunities, pardon, for confidential information. So you can unscreen share, and we'll go back to my screen share.
There
Okay.
you go. Well,
right.
thank you so much
Sure,
for the
absolutely.
details.
No, that's helpful, because sometimes, it's been 4 years since I opened it, and I won't remember things from last week, much less what a screen looked like from 4 years ago. So as you can see, whoopsie, here you go. The screen share that we have, and why is it not? Okay, come on. Go full screen on me here, guys. I cannot see very well. So
if you go down, Kelly, where it says 93% at the, oh, I think you did it.
okay, cool. All right. So here we were where Laura was, where she was at the screen where we said, are you the beneficiary? And she clicked no, which is correct. And then it started to ask you information about the beneficiary. They want you to put your family member's first name, last name, his or her social security number and date of birth. And then you're going to select how they identify. So if you look at the sample here, Dariza Garcia is our person that's we're opening an account for. So this is Dariza's first and last name, her social security number, date of birth. She identifies as a she. And then you're going to enter your address, where Dariza lives. She lives at 123 Main Street. Okay. You're going to enter that information. So far we know that. We got that down. And then let's see, we're going to go to the next page. After you click next, the next thing that's going to pop up is a screen that says, tell us about yourself, because now they're asking about you as the authorized legal representative, or the ALR. So this is where looks like Ruben Lataglia is going to be helping Dariza open this ABLE account and manage it. So he put in his first and last name and social security number and birth date as well, listed a phone number, and select how he wants to be identified as, and his address as well. So this is what he filled in here. And once you as the ALR complete filling out your information, You'll click on that next button as well. And we'll go to the next screen. And now it is going to ask for the eligibility information. This is where they want to know if you qualify or your family member qualifies for an ABLE account. So it says, as the ALR, you're answering this question. It says, which option applies to the beneficiary? I certify that he or she is receiving SSI, Social Security SSI, or the next button is maybe they're getting SSDI. You would click that one instead. If you're one of the few people, sometimes I run into families who their family members getting both. Just click one. Doesn't matter as long as they can tell you qualify because you're receiving one or the other. But what if you're in a situation like Brooke is? She has a 14-year-old who's many folks that have a disability. They usually don't get SSI before they turn 18 because they're going to examine the whole family's income. But once your family member turns 18, they're going to look at just that person's income. And that's oftentimes when they'll qualify. So in that case, Brooke, you would click on the beneficiary has a medically determinable physical or mental impairment, and you would click on that. Okay. And it's going to ask you to say, that you have a signed diagnosis. You do not have to have this in front of you or in your hand at the time, but you can go to our website, and it looks like there's a link right from here to take you back to the website, the forms section. And I can also, send an attachment of one of these forms to you guys as well if you need it. And it basically is just a one-page form that you would take to the physician, and he or she would select the disability code and sign it, and you would just maintain it. You don't have to submit it to Maryland ABLE, but in the event of an audit, and the audit would not be for Maryland ABLE, but it would be from the IRS. Not because you have an ABLE account are you going to be audited, but maybe your family member's just real lucky and they get pulled for an audit by the IRS, and they'll see that you have an ABLE account. They're going to want to make sure that you qualify for it. So there you go. You could click on the beneficiary either has SSI, SSDI, or I have a disability certification form. And then it's going to ask you to click on the diagnosis code. And I don't know if the next screen has that or not. No, it doesn't. Okay. So basically it's going to be a drop-down menu, and it's going to say things like intellectual disability, neurological disorder, blindness. It's going to list, 7, 8, 9 disability codes, and you would click the one that best suits your family member. And then you're going to click the bubble, yes or no. Is the disability permanent? Yes or no. And then what is your relationship to this beneficiary? You're going to click a drop-down menu, and it could say parent, sibling, spouse. You'll have choices there. And then since you're the one that's opening this account on behalf of someone else, it's going to ask you to certify under penalty of perjury that this person has a disability, that they're eligible. That means that they had the onset of their disability before they turned 26 years old. Okay. And that they don't have another ABLE account already open, because you can only have one ABLE account. So if those things are true, you'd want to click on both of those and hit next. Now it's going to ask you as the ALR to verify your identity. And this is, I think they call the CIP process. All financial institutions, before they'll, grant you credit cards or whatever they're going to do, they'll want to make sure that you're a real person, that you're not a robot, that you're not a scammer that's trying to set up a fake account, in somebody else's name. So they're going to ask you questions that are pretty specific, but random, I think, So one of the things that it'll ask you, in which of the following counties have you ever lived or owned property? So Deriza's father he selected Arlington. He didn't live in any of those other counties. So they're basically looking, are you a real person? Brooke, you say you're Brooke Levy. are you really her? Because if you are, you're going to know the answers to these questions. And it'll be questions about like where you lived, maybe ask a question about a car that you've previously owned. These are things that they would naturally have access to because they're in your public record. It's sort of like our digital it's like a digital footprint we have. So anyway, we'll be asked 5 questions, and that's what you're going to go through next. So if you get to a screen that says, hey, we're stuck here because we couldn't validate your identity, okay, you'd have to call customer support. This is something we see when a person with a disability tries to open the account on their own, because a lot of times they don't have a digital footprint. They haven't got a mortgage. They've never purchased a car through a loan. You know, they don't have a lot of things for a digital footprint. They would just basically talk to you and ask you to submit a copy of maybe your social security card or your state ID. But this is not the case here. Usually people that are adults that are out and about living in the world have a digital footprint. Okay, so communication preferences. Now it's going to ask you, how do you want to be communicated with? Do you want your quarterly statements to come to you by email? Do you want them to be downloaded by email? You want them to go through US mail? Just different choices. I don't want any electronic communications. I want all my communications on paper. You check whichever one works best for you. Okay. I will say, though, that if you do choose paper statements, I believe there's a charge. It's a small charge for it, but it's really intended so that all of your communications will be within your ABLE account. You can print and download your statements right there. And then it's going to ask for your mailing address, right? And next screen. Here's the part where we start to create the login. So you want to use whatever email address that you want to log in from. It's up to you, your own email, the account holders, the beneficiaries, and you're going to create your password. Just like we do when we have to do other types of things. Gosh, even to register for Parks and Rec and send somebody to a summer camp, you got to create an account and a password. We've all got so many passwords now. It's just, wow. Now this is super small. Let me see what I got here, what we can do. Oh, this looks like the summary page. So basically it's saying, hey, please review your information. So Deriza's father is going to look this over, make sure he's got his address right and everything right. And then if it's right, he's going to click next. Okay, congratulations on creating your account. Now it's time to verify your email address. And you would do that by confirming your email address by clicking on that and make sure that it's going to the right place. Hopefully you've put your information in correctly and it's not going to something like that. Okay, so once your email address has been verified, and you'll have to check your email to make sure you receive it, it's going to ask you to verify the relationship that you have with the account holder. Here it is. Okay, so you would click on verify relationship. We've got Deriza Garcia's account is now set up. We're going to verify relationship. So this is where if you are opening for a child, someone under the age of 18, you're not going to have to provide any consent documents because you are a parent of a minor. So you won't need to do this. But if they're over the age of 18, this is the place where you want to click that upload file. And this is where you would upload your guardianship paper, conservatorship paper, durable power of attorney, whether that be something that you did with an attorney and set it up for personal and financial power of attorney, or that Maryland ABLE form that we talked about. It's been developed by the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Maryland. It's a form you take. You don't have to consult an attorney. It was developed by an attorney. You take it to the bank or Staples or Office Depot, whoever has a notary, and you're going to sign it with your family member in the presence of 2 witnesses, and you can upload it here. Okay. And then they'll ask you to attest that the durable power of attorney is a true copy that you're uploaded, that it's not a fake document, and then hit submit, and we're going to move on to the next one. Okay. All right, so this looks like this is where Deriza's father is verifying that everything is correct there. And then it says your document has been submitted. He submitted a power of attorney. And it typically takes 3 to 5 days to review your document, because now it's going to go to the bank. Their legal department is going to look at all the documents that come in through the online enrollment, make sure they're valid, they're legit, that these are real people and that you've got consent to do this. Okay. So then they're going to tell you that they'll reach out by email when it's time to complete the account setup. That's why it takes another step and a little bit longer when you're putting these consent documents in. So those of you that are doing this for a child under the age of 18, it'll take you about 15 minutes from beginning to end. Okay, so you can see on the screen here that Doriza's account is pending. It's pending review of those legal documents. So we're going to skip past this one. This is the registration of a new account for someone who's managing their own account. We're not going to do this because no one here tonight has a disability that's opening an account for their own. Okay, but whoopsie. Let's go back here a second here. Okay. Now, when it's time to finish setting up the account, let's just say the documents have been reviewed. You've got your email from the Bank of New York Mellon, someday Vestwell, that says, hey, you're good to go. Your documents are good. Let's finish setting up the account. This is the screen that we will be at that point. So it's going to ask you to set a goal for your yearly contribution goal. This is whatever you want it to be. You could say the maximum amount, which is now 17,000. You'll see here it says 16,000 because this was from last year. And the reason we say to set a goal is because sometimes adult account holders are working and they want to be able to put some of their own income in there. They want to be able to put some of their own excess SSI benefits in there. So if you said your yearly contribution goal was the full 17,000, people could contribute, family members and friends could contribute up to that 17, but some account holders say, no, don't do that. I want to, maybe let other people contribute to my account, maybe $10,000, but I need that $7,000 wiggle room because I want to contribute some of my own money so I don't become over-resourced in my checking account or savings account from my job. So there's no right or wrong answer here. You're going to just pick whichever one works best for your family member.
Can I ask a question, Kelly, about that?
Yes.
So let's say you want to put in $100 a month, like a parent. You have let's say I'm doing it for my kid and I'm going to just say $100 is going to come out of my paycheck every month or a bank or however it's done. If I put then $1,200 there, could I not go over that?
No, you could.
Does it really matter what that number is? So and I'm only asking because let's say, we put a parent puts a number there, but then a grandparent says, oh, hey, you know what? I want for a birthday or whatever, I want to give $1,000.
Right.
And I want to put some of that into the ABLE account.
No, this is just for the account holder to be able to say, I want to put X amount of money, dollars of my own money in the account. So I'm just going to set that goal for myself. As long, that contribution level limit is 17,000. So it can come from any source. So they just kind of, they want to do that so that people that are eligible for able to work contributions, people that are account holders and working, have some wiggle room to put money in from their able to work contributions. They want to have, so it's okay. You're still going to be able to put a total of 17,000. It's just a goal that a person sets for themselves. So now here's the part where we're going to want to connect or link an existing bank account to the ABLE account, because that's how we're going to get money into the ABLE account. And that's one of the ways that we can take a withdrawal from the ABLE account. And this is a personal choice. It could be your checking or savings account. It could be your family member's checking or savings. It could be their rep payee account. So that you're like, hey, I know every month we utilize, $500 of their SSI, but that 200 and whatever is left over, and that account balance has been creeping up. I want to link it to that account so that I can just transfer the excess funds into the ABLE account. There's no right or wrong answer here. Whatever makes most sense to you. How would you be getting that money in? You know, as a parent who's serving as ALR for my daughter, she doesn't have a checking account. She used to have a savings account, but now she has an ABLE account. Just make sure she's got everything straight. She's not receiving SSI yet. She doesn't have a job. So that what made most sense to me was to link it to my checking account. I'm putting the money in and I'm taking it out. So you can actually link up to 2 accounts with this, but this screen is going to just show you how to do one. So once you connect the account, it's going to ask you the name that's on the account. So like in my case, I put in Kelly Nelson. It's my checking account. I collect checking. I put my bank routing number for the Bank of America and my account number. And then this bank account nickname, you know, it's because some people just have like a whole bunch of accounts within one bank. And I could just put in there Kelly's checking is what I wanted if I could name it that. So then Someday uses Plaid to connect your bank account. You can do that. And it just does it automatically. You don't have to do a lot of other stuff, but you can also do it manually. And I honestly, honest to goodness, can't remember which button I clicked 4 years ago, but apparently they are able to do that easier, but it's up to you. You can manually do that as well. So then you're at this point where you're going to fund your ABLE account with that initial contribution. And then the minimum amount that you would put in would be $25. You could put in more, but you could just put in the minimal amount if you wanted to. But it's going to ask you where you want to put that contribution. So here you'll see where it's giving you these different options: ABLE conservative, ABLE moderate, ABLE aggressive, ABLE fixed income, or the Maryland cash option, Maryland ABLE cash option. So the cash option is like a savings account type of situation, FDIC insured. The money that you put in the ABLE account is going to be earning whatever the federal interest rate is at the time. These 4 above it are part of our investment portfolios. So you'd want to give some thought to that. You know, a conservative option is an investment portfolio managed by Vanguard, made up of 80% bonds and 20% in the stock market. The moderate is a 50-50 split between stocks and bonds. Aggressive option is 84% in stocks and just 16% in bonds. And the ABLE fixed income, that's 100% in bonds. So that's, you know, less risk than, you know, any of the other ones that contain the stocks. So there's no right or wrong answer. People get stuck here all the time. You could put that initial contribution into cash savings. Okay, no worries. The next time you log into your ABLE account and want to make another contribution, you still have the option to pick any one of those. So don't worry. You just pick whatever one makes sense to you at that time. You can always put other money in other of those investment options if you choose.
Okay, so can you go back to that?
Yeah.
Oh, are you still there? So I don't know if others are looking at this on their computer as well. I know that you are correct. This is where I got stuck. and so, you know, is there guidance other than like what you're telling us right now, what it involves from,
so what
like
you
which one to pick? And
is,
can you change it? Like, let's say you say, okay, you put the initial whatever amount in one, and then the next time you sign into, or I guess that can you move the money around, or once you
so
put it in?
you can move the money from one of these selections to another up to 2 times per calendar year. So let's just say, like, let's go to the next thing here and just look at, so Doreeza's father put in $200, and it looks like he's going to put some in the cash investment. He's going to put some in cash and some in ABLE conservative, and it's going to, you know, fit 100 in one and 100 in the other, let's just say. So that would be, it looks like he's choosing conservative and cash. So the next time he logs in, you see that you've got 100 in each account. So the next time you're going to make a contribution, say it's $50, you could pick, you can go back here, and you could still pick any one of those other ones. I mean, I wouldn't recommend picking it and moving it immediately, because you really don't know what that investment's going to do in a week or 2 weeks. But if you, let's just say you picked the aggressive option and you opened this account when the stock market was just going gangbusters for 2 years, and you're like, yes, I'm loving this. We're doing so great. All of a sudden, the market's tanking and you're like, I don't know about this anymore. I'm not sure I want to have this. You could change it. You could move it from the aggressive option into cash or the conservative. You can make a move from one account to move funds from one of these funds to another twice a calendar year. So I remember when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I just put it in the cash savings option. That sounded good to me. And then later I decided, you know what, I think the next time I make a contribution, I might want to try one of the investment options. Don't remember what I chose. I think I chose conservative. Yes, I did choose conservative. And the whole time, let me tell you how not on it I was. The whole time the market was going crazy good, not once did I think to move, and I could have moved my daughter's funds from the conservative one into the aggressive, but I didn't do that. But I could have. So yeah. I don't
So
know.
Kelly, can you again explain what the cash option is?
Yes. So the cash option is like a regular FDIC insured cash savings account. There's no investment risks. There's no money invested in the stock market. So like if you were to go down to the PNC Bank and you opened let's say a cash checking account or savings account, they would say, okay, Brooke, this is what the federal interest rate is paying. This is what you're getting. And the money would stay there until you took it out. It's not like you would look at your account balance and you would lose money because the market went down. Now, if the bank went out of business, you would have it insured up to $250,000, I think is what FDIC insurance is right now or whatever. But there's no investing going on with that money. You put $100 in and it stays there until you take it out. And you're going to accrue whatever interest it's paying at the time, which is the federal interest rate. It's based on the federal interest rate. So that's the least risky option because it's just a cash savings account. So some people, a lot of people like the cash option because they're like, well, I want to put the money in there. I want to know it's there when I need it next month, year from now. Other people say, you know what? I'm opening this ABLE account for my 2-month-old daughter that was born, has a disability. We're just using this as a long-term savings investment. We are going to go ahead and put it in the moderate investment portfolio managed by Vanguard and just let it ride for the next 20 years. So your guidance would come from someone who knows about investments, seeking a financial advisor or someone in your family that's like, they'll ask you questions like, how long do you plan on leaving the money in there? Are you going to use it right away? Then put it in the cash. Or are you going to leave it in there for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 2 years? Sometimes that will help you make a decision. Also, the volatility of the market. Are you a person that's willing to take a little risk? Usually the aggressive option, when the market is doing well, is making a lot more money because the stock market is doing well. But when it takes a turn, that's the first one that you see take a dip, because once the stock market goes down, you're not protected from losses due to a decrease in the stock price. So you don't have to choose any of those investment options, but some people want to. Okay. All right. Okay, so it looks like that's what Derise's father did. He wanted to make a $200 initial contribution. He put 100 of it in conservative and he put 100 of it in the cash option. So let's just say next month he's like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I didn't want that ABLE conservative. I wanted to go with that fixed income where it's 100% in bonds. I'm going to go ahead and move that $100 from here into the fixed income or one of the other investments. He could do that. You can move money from one fund to another twice a year. Okay, whoopsie. Okay, so now the account has been created and funded. And it's going to give you a welcome email. Thank you for opening your account. Looks like they have a survey, maybe a customer service survey about the enrollment process. Invite you to check out your dashboard. And this is what your dashboard is going to look like once you enroll. So here's Derise's name. So, you know, Brooke, it would be your daughter's name up here and her account number. And then it's going to tell you the balance in the account. So it looks like since she just opened her account, Dad just put that $200 in there. It's still pending. It hasn't cleared. I mean, it's not an instantaneous contribution because it's coming from Derise's father's checking account and it's coming over to the ABLE account. So it's going to take about 2 days to, you know, clear like payments, like, you know, electronic funds transfers that we do when we pay bills. They're usually not instantaneous. So that's what that looks like. And then, oops. Okay. What's up with this? Oh, there we go. So then we'll go to the dashboard. We'll just click on Derise's account, you know, Maryland ABLE, Derisa, we clicked on this and this is her dashboard. And you'll see things like it'll show the total balance. It'll show your contributions made to the account. If you want to change your savings goal, you don't have to, but you can. Investments. Right now, it looks like she has a contribution pending to her investments. This would be where you would click on if you said, oh my gosh, I decided I don't want an investment option. I just want it in the savings option. You would click on there and select to move those funds to another account. Then you've got add a gifting page. This is something that's optional. Lots of people do it. I'm a big fan of it. You can activate your gifting page, set a gift goal, and then the next time your family member has a birthday or around the holidays, you can text it, email it, send it by messenger saying, you know, this would be a great gift, would be a contribution to the ABLE account. Lots of people use this if there's a special savings goal that a family member has. Maybe they're moving out into independent living. They want to purchase furniture for their, you know, shared apartment or whatever the goal is. If they're going on a special trip and they, you know, whatever it is, whatever the goal is, you can send a link to the gifting page and ask people, pardon, to make a contribution. And they click on that link. It's very simple. They type in the amount, however they're paying for it, whether it be by credit card or checking account, and they hit send. It goes right to the ABLE account. This is where people can sign up to get a prepaid card. It does not automatically come with the ABLE account, but it's an option. This is another way for people to be able to access funds in the ABLE account. So if you selected that option, they would take you to a website managed by TrueLink. TrueLink is the credit card company that makes ABLE prepaid cards available to people. And TrueLink is an organization that does prepaid cards for people with disabilities. So you may have heard of TrueLink before. If you have another type of account, special needs trust or something, you can get a prepaid card through them. And but they're contracted with Maryland ABLE's program manager to provide these cards. It's $1.25 per month, but what it does is it provides very convenient access for the account holder and the ALR. So for example, my daughter has a prepaid card. Went to buy school supplies this year, went to Target, picked out her own stuff, took it up to the register, swiped her card. It was a great opportunity for her to do that independently. She didn't have to worry about counting change out, making sure she had the right amount. She has the prepaid card. So she likes using that when she goes on her community-based instruction trips at school and all kinds of things like that. So not trying to sell the prepaid card. I'm just saying it's an option for convenient access, but it is $1.25 per month to have the card. And you can decide to cancel the card at any time if you want to. So this is going to show, it looks like an account summary of what happened. The account was opened and contributions pending. It tells you how much contributions are pending. Basically the same thing we could see from the dashboard, but they type it out like this. Again, here we see the pending contribution, $200. Once it clears from the electronic funds transfer, it'll just show up in the account balance. So let's just fast forward a couple weeks, couple months, and you decide that you want to make another contribution to the ABLE account. You would go back to the www.marylandable.org, hit enter. It's going to ask you for the your username, which is your email, that you signed up with, and then the password that you created. So you're going to click that. It's going to take you back in to your ABLE account dashboard, and you would click on this one, which was called transfers, because you want to transfer money in. You clicked on that, and it says that you're going to make a contribution. So you're going to select where do you want to make this contribution from? Your linked bank account. You have 2 linked bank accounts you can have up to do. Click on where it's coming from. Oh, PNC Bank checking account, Kelly's checking account. Are you going to make a one-time contribution, or you want to set this up as a monthly contribution? Like Brooke said, maybe I'd want to put in $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever. You decide. Click on which one you want. From there, it's going to ask you then, and this will ask you every time, is this going to go towards your standard contribution limit? That 17,000, right? Or is this an able to work contribution? In other words, is the account holder working, have an ABLE account, not contributing to another retirement account, qualifies for able to work contributions, and wants to put their own money in there? If that's the case, you always click the able to work, because then it doesn't count towards the $17,000 standard annual contribution, because they're able to contribute above and beyond that 17,000 if they're working and not contributing to another retirement account. All right, then you would click next. Then it's going to ask, where do you want it? Now, remember, Teresa's account was set up with the ABLE conservative and the cash option. But see that button down at the bottom, contribute to a new investment. You're like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really feeling putting any more money into this one right now. I'm going to try the fixed income, or maybe the moderate investment. You could add another one. You can add an investment strategy if you wanted. Let's just say you started out with cash, and a year later you're like, maybe I do want one of those investments. You would click that button right here, contribute a new investment to a new investment. You would click that and tell how much you wanted. Okay, so then I want you to review. All right, I want 100 in each one. Confirm it. You're going to move on, and your contribution is in the works. Now let's just say you wanted to go into your ABLE account and take a withdrawal. You would go back to your dashboard, and under transfers up here from your dashboard, when you clicked on that, it'll give you the option to make a withdrawal. It's going to ask you, where do you want this to come from? You want it from the linked bank account? Do you want to have a paper check issued to the ALR? Do you want to have a payment issued to a vendor? Like, let's just say it would be for rent or something like that, and you want to set that up, you would click that. But usually it's back to the linked bank account. You want to hit the next one. Now it's going to ask you, well, where do you want to take this money from? Let's see how much, if they put in the amount. They didn't put the amount in. So let's just say you wanted to take out $200, $500, whatever. It's going to ask you, where do you want it from? You've got money in the conservative, you've got money in moderate, you've got it in cash, wherever you've got it, you click which one of those funds you want to take that out of. So for example, with my daughter having a cash savings option, and I think the moderate, I could say, I'm just going to take it out of the cash, but maybe I might decide for whatever reason, I'm going to take it out of the moderate, who knows? And I would click that box and tell them how much I want to take it out. So you can decide every time. All right, so it looks like she took out $100 out of the conservative option. That's what she chose this time. All right, your withdrawal is in the works. It is going to take, in this case, between 2 to 7 days for this transaction to occur, because unlike that cash option where the money's just sitting in the bank, Vestwell has to contact Vanguard and say, hey, Vanguard, Teresa wants to take $100 out of her investment portfolio, sell that number of shares, and then transfer the money to us. And that's why it takes longer if you're taking it out of an investment strategy. Okay. So it looks like settings here. This is if you ever needed to, from your dashboard, you would click on settings. If you ever needed to go in there and change anything. Let's say you moved, you want to change your mailing address, you would click on that, put your new address in there. Maybe the beneficiary moved, maybe they moved to their own place, right? Maybe you want to add another linked bank account. You only have one, you can add a new bank account. Or maybe say, hey, I switched my bank. Now I'm with a new bank. I don't want my PNC bank account anymore. I want to add in a M&T bank account, get rid of my other one. You can edit that right here. Okay. So this is where you can edit any of those things in your settings, and you have access to that 24/7. Okay, here we are at the gifting page. Let's say someone wants to set up that gifting page. You would go to the gift page landing, and you can customize your page. So this is where it's more important when you set up that goal. Let's just say you want to limit your gifts from other family and friends, because you have to put money left over from your SSI check so you don't get over-resourced in your linked bank account. So maybe you only want to receive $10,000 or $5,000. You would put that amount in there. So once that amount has been gifted, if someone tries to gift money beyond that, they would say, contact your friend or family member or whatever, because they wouldn't accept it. So if you don't have any limitations, you can set your gifting limit for, higher.
So here's a question. So if our kids are under 18 and not contributing to this account yet, or actually, if I guess they don't have to be under 18, it doesn't matter. If we have loved ones who this account is set up for, and they're not contributing to this, and we set up this gifting page, do we have to put a number there, or could it just be 17,000?
You could put 17,000. Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to figure, because
what's going to happen? Let's just say I won this Powerball or whatever everybody was talking about last week. I don't even know if it's been awarded yet, but let's say I won it. And I'm like, oh man, every single person I ever did a webinar with, I am going to go find them, see if they have an ABLE account, donate $10,000 to everyone, because I got billions of dollars. I could make a gift contribution, but let's just say, you said, no, I need to move money myself from this account into my daughter's ABLE account. I'm not taking $20,000 from somebody else. This is where you would want to limit your contributions from other people. This isn't from you per se. You're linked as the ALR, so you can contribute money. You're not going to be subjected to that. So I would say, I wanted to give $17,000 to Helen's account, and it would say, oh, sorry, Kelly, contact Helen, because she can't, whatever. It would give me some sort of message, so that I'd say, oh, okay, well, I'll just give you the $2,000 then that you can accept.
Okay, so you're saying, like, if, let's say, a parent put $5,000 in there for the year, then you have to subtract that from the 17,000 for what else could be contributed.
Right. So that we don't see this happening a lot, but there are people that have ABLE accounts that are working, and they really have to be careful, because they want to put residual SSI funds. They want to put in as residual funds from their job. And, if there's all these scenarios out there. So this is like a sort of like a way to keep from somebody else filling up that $17,000, and you're like, oh my God, now what am I going to do with my leftover SSI funds? Grandma just funded my account for $17,000 this year. I don't qualify for able to work contributions. What am I going to do with my excess money for my savings account now? Does that make sense? It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So that's why it'll say set your gifting limit. I don't want 17,000. I only want 5,000 or whatever, but you can go in and edit that too. It's not like, if you have people that's just wanting to give your child a lot of money and you can take it, go in there and change that gifting limit. You have access 24/7. Go under settings, change it. Yeah. So anyway, you'll see if it's somebody else that's contributing, they're not going to see where is it going to go, because they're just going to send it to your ABLE account. But this is where you have an opportunity to say, hey, when someone does use that gifting link, this is where I want it to go. I want all the money to go in the cash option, or I want all that money to go into one of those investment portfolios. You pick, and you can change it whenever you want, but you pick where you want it to go in, because they're not going to see that side of your account. They're just going to see, here's the gifting page. I want to put $25 for her birthday, and I'm going to hit send, and it's going to show up in her ABLE account. You decide where that $25 is going to go by clicking on this, and it'll be a drop down menu, and you pick where it's going to be. Okay. All right. So review your page and go live. So there it is. It says looking for the perfect gift, contributed to Teresa's future. Click go live, and it's active. So now from this point, anytime that you want to send a link to the gifting page, you can do it. And here it says edit your gifting page. You can change your gifting limit, change it from conservative to cash option. You have the access anytime you want. If you want to deactivate your gifting page, don't know why people do that, but they can. And it'll show you the status, how much money she's received in gift contributions. So that looks like it's taken us through the enrollment process and some of the features. Are there any questions or any of the screenshots we want to go back to? Because I know it's a lot of things to fill out, but usually the answers to these questions. You have the power to control these things. I think one of the strangest parts is when they go to verify your identity, because they're going to be asking you some very random but very specific information, like what color was that Dodge Dart you had when you were, my first car was a Dodge Dart back in like 1984. What color is the Dodge Dart? You got to remember that. They want to verify who you are, say that you are. So yeah, so this is the other thing that I think that was sent out was the paper enrollment forms. I just want to clarify, I don't recommend that people use the paper enrollment forms, because you're sending all of your confidential information, your social security number and bank number, through the US mail. You could get lost. Also, it takes more time to do it that way. But for those folks that want to do it that way, definitely fill out the paper enrollment forms. The only reason I sent them is because, these screenshots are really hard to read. At least they are for me. I'm like 56 years old. I don't read well, this light gray stuff. But those forms ask you all the questions that is asked in the online enrollment process. So it gives you a chance to see what they're going to ask you. The only thing it's not going to ask you is those verifying your, digital footprint, because you're obviously sending in a copy of your social security card or your driver's license. That's getting mailed in. So they don't need you to verify your identity. You're making copies of that information if you send it in by paper enrollment.
Kelly, there's a question here. If you get stuck on one of the screens, who is a good contact for help?
So the person for that would be the customer support. And I'm going to put this in the chat here, because if you call me, I would not be able to help you, unfortunately, because I don't have access to anybody's ABLE account. These are private financial accounts, and I don't know account numbers. I can't access accounts. So the best thing to do, and let me see if I can find the chat here, and I'm going to type this number in here. Okay. You would want to call customer support, and they are open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Okay. And these are the people that work for Vestwell. They're helping to run that website, make those contributions and taking the withdrawals. That's what they do. 855, make sure I got this right, 855-563-2253. Okay. And that's customer support. open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And when you call them, okay, you're just gonna say, I'm having trouble, I'm stuck on this screen. They're going to log in and they can walk you through that screen process, which is nice. Okay.
And before people start, I mean, people may still want to have a few more questions, but before people log off, please click on the link for our presentation evaluation, because that helps us with future presentations. But Laura, for you specifically, feel free to call me because I opened mine up tonight.
Well,
You did?
I couldn't get that. There was one screen that it wasn't giving me any option to move forward.
Huh.
Oh, okay. So
I
I'm,
don't
You
know. what I
remember
did
which
with-
one it was?
Yeah, it was, well, there were little radio buttons at the top. It was the fourth screen. I had put in my information and then it asked me about Michael's disability. I picked the disability. He is 18, but they have not, and I have applied for SSI, but they have not made a decision. So I picked the one where I'm certifying.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I picked the disability and then I answered the next question. It checked the 3 boxes. It said, I'm really serious and under perjury of law. And I clicked the next button and then that's the next screen after that wouldn't, there was nothing there for me to do or to click. I think it was asking, and it just timed out, but I think it was asking, it said this is optional, but
Was it the benefit? Was it to name success
beneficiary.
for beneficiary?
Right,
Okay.
it was that page, and
Okay.
but there was no button to click. There was no way I could enter any information. There was
Okay.
just,
So you know what? This is something that they need to do a screenshot for me because this is something they recently added. And this is the tricky part. And I know, Brooke, we went through this when we were looking at yours. You can't name a successor beneficiary unless your son has someone in his family that also has a disability and has an ABLE account. So in the event of his passing, you could have a successor beneficiary where all his ABLE funds would roll over to his sibling or to his whatever. But other than that, you can't name a successor beneficiary like his parents or a person with a family member that doesn't have a disability. In the event of our family members passing, what would happen is the ABLE account would be closed after any outstanding expenses were paid. And then the account would be closed and would become part of that person's estate. And whatever the estate is, whether they have a will that says all my assets go to my mom or to my brother or whatever, that's where they would go. But you can't name a successor beneficiary. It's not like a will. This is not a screenshot where you're saying, oh, okay, if I pass, this is where my money goes. It would still go to that person's estate. This is just for people to be able to transfer it to another family member with an ABLE account. And I think that's confusing. They've recently added that screen, and I told them I don't like that because people don't know what's happening. They think it's for just, they can name themselves. So you'd have to
there
click
was no
no.
way to enter any information.
Right.
It was
So did you click
completely blank
no?
screen.
So did you click
There was
no?
no yes or no or next. There was nothing I could do on that screen.
Laura, did you just click back? Because there was
I did
one
click
time.
back. I refilled out the page before. I clicked back
Okay.
2 pages. I refilled 2 pages.
Yeah. Okay.
5 times I end up in that place. And
Okay.
I was literally, I'm pretty literate. I work on a computer all day. There was